Hello, thank you for tuning into the Elephant Madness channel. Today we'll be diving into the evolution of music in the Gambia from the roots to its global influence. The Gambia. The Gambia is a British colonized country back in 1965 and is one of the only countries that have "da" in front of the name, calling it the Gambia. In 1964, shortly prior to the country's independence, Prime Minister Dawda Jawara wrote the Permanent Community of Geographical Names for British use and requested that the name the Gambia retain the definite articles. Let's take a dive and look at one of the instruments used by most West African greats, the Kora. The Kora is the stringed instrument used in West Africa. It was first discovered in the Gambia. The Kora typically has 21 strings which are played by plucking with your fingers. Kora players have traditionally come from Jali families, also known to be Mandinkas, who are traditional historians and storytellers who pass their skills on to their descendants. The Kora is also played in Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mali and Senegal. The instrument was first discovered in the Gambia and it is famously played by Jaliba Kuyateh. Let's take a dive into the rise of Gambian music in the early 70s. Ifang Bondi. Ifang Bondi means take out yourself in the Mandinka language. They grew out from a former band called Super Eagles formed in the 60s. The Super Eagles was the undisputed top group in the Gambia and Senegal. In 1968, they toured Ghana, making a huge impact with their very own African sounds. In 1970, the Super Eagles was disbanded only to rise again in the 1973 as Ifang Bondi. The name was as new as the sound, featuring for the first time indigenous Senegambia rhymes, melodies and instruments. They integrated traditional instruments such as Kora, balafon, sabar, talking drum, bukarabo, djembe, and many more modern instruments such as electric guitar, bass and keyboard. They also have been credited the originators of the Afro-Manding sound, extemporized by stars such as Youssou, Salifah Keita and Mor Kante with their latest CD, Guess Guess. Ifang Bondi celebrated their 25 years of existence with the leadership of Badu Job. Badu Job have been with the Super Eagles from the beginning and has been the driving force for the 1973 when the big change happened in style. The crew live in the Gambia and made tours to Europe every year with them based in Netherlands. Another very influential musician back in the 70s is Lalo Keba Drammeh. The legend was born in a village, Kenwela, in Kiang. Lalo Keba lived most of his adult life in Senegal, cruising between Casamance and Dakar, Kolda and many other parts of Senegal and the Gambia and also Guinea-Bissau. He had two brothers, Lalo Dinding Drammeh and Kabura Drammeh. He lived and worked in Dakar with the Daniel Sorona Senegal national troupe. He was favored by the president Senghor. Lalo was named after a Christian under the leadership of Fode Baraham. Lalo Keba was a heavy pipe smoker. He had a deep voice when he speaks and a sharp low-tone tenor voice when he sings. He was the master of Kora instrument who tuned his Kora only once and never tuned his Kora between songs, as done by most Jalis. Before playing his Kora, he would lose all the strings from the previous tuning and retune the Kora tightly. With his special technique in the tune pattern, it will allow him to play fluently all the Kora tunes according to the 4 Kora scale patterns. Lalo Keba Drammeh married Njai as his first wife and granddaughter of Wadinfin Jobate. Wadinfin Jobate was a Kora player and was a renowned griot. He also traveled on a horseback and would never get off the horseback except if he was asked to play and he would set his demands. His demands were high prices that he would set, and upon acceptance, he would come off the horse. He was the composer of many epic Kora songs, including Allake, Tarijata, and many more. Wodifin Jobate was like the holy Saint Francis of Assisi. When he played, the birds would sing and flock around him, whistling and singing in his songs. Lalo Keba was a mystical person who deprived his powers to spirits and prayers. He disappeared from his family for 8 days and no one could find him, and on his appearance again, he said that all he could remember was that one of his friends, Malang Sabali, appeared to him and asked him to sit on his back. All he knew was he stepped into water, and the rest he couldn't remember, and he believed that he was taken by the jinns and anointed with special powers. Spiritual journeys made Lalo Keba compose an epic song called Ndemba Jase. The Ndemba Jase rhyme is a Yenyengo rhyme. It is a rhyme pattern used in Casamance Kora, played and made popular by Lalo Keba Drammeh. Lalo Keba Drammeh made huge success with the Yenyengo swing rhymes and blended it with the sub-surf high-pitched voice to calm the Kora tones as the ultimate Kora king that would ever live. Lalo Keba's singing and playing hypnotized President Senghor, who requested Lalo Keba to naturalize and become a Senegalese citizen. Lalo Keba never agreed to the president's proposal. President Senghor knew that the Manding conference in London was approaching and was as artistically aware. He demanded that Lalo Keba should perform under the banner as a Senegalese. Lalo Keba was also approached by some of his musician friends that he have worked with for years and many other professionals from Senegal National Troupe, but Lalo Keba respectfully declined. In the Gambia, President Jawara was also planning to send troops to England and also had Lalo Keba on his list. The battle for Lalo Keba was on. Nail and tooth, both countries were hoping that he would perform for the Yenyengo style under their banner. Lalo Keba married his second wife before going to the Manding conference. He married a girl by the name of Kora and went to London with Kora with a lineup of Gambian musicians with the great Falaba Konate, Sona Sakiliba, Nyayama Loli, and Balabo Jeng as the Gambian national trumpet. They were joined by the late Alaji Sunkung Bayo, who flew into London by jet, and another young Gambian named Solo Dabo. Solo Dabo, diamond businessman, flew from Congo to London to boost the morale of the Gambian troops. They played at the Manding conference and straight away, the BBC World Service broadcasted on air that Gambia troops was the winner of the musical competition. The musical knowledge of the BBC producers discovered that there was more variation and substance in the Gambian style of Kora than the single-toned, well-dressed Senegalese troupe. For most of his life, Lalo Keba was married to Kora till his death. The day of his death, he seemed to know. He woke up in the morning and asked his brother Kabura to bring his Kora and play some of his favorite tunes. After playing, he called Kora and gave him something to swallow, then whispered in our ear, followed by a prayer for guidance and protection, and then he went to sleep and never woke up again. Lalo Keba was buried in Senegal, and his tomb was made into a shrine under the directives of the Gambia President Yaya AJJ Jammeh to the ambassador Antoinette Man Saho to build the most magnificent tomb for Lalo Keba as an honor and tribute for the king of Kora by the people of the Gambia. Then the ambassador Njoguba, together with Badu Senghor, Tatin Baji, and Sana Bojang, approached the widow of Lalo Keba and extended the invitation to Kora to come to the Gambia to meet with the president. She came to the Gambia, and on her return to Senegal, she was offered a number of gifts by the president, including bags of rice, sugar, and financial assistance to sustain the welfare of Lalo Keba Drammeh's family and to uphold the legacy of the Supremo Kora master. Another very influential person in the Gambian music in the 70s is Musangom.
Boy, tanta, yumpan,
Musangom was born in 1953 in Farato, in the Upper River Division of the Gambia, and died October 11, 2015 at the Dantec Hospital in Dakar, Senegal. Musangom was a singer and songwriter who was very popular in Senegal and Gambia. He was one of the pioneers of Mbalax music and helped define the Mbalax music style of the popular music in the Senegambia. He had a very strong influence on Youssou Ndour and other Mbalax pioneers. He was something of a cult icon back in the Senegambia region and a pioneer in the Mbalax fusion style, Mbalax, which originated from the Serer religion. Let's dive into one of the most influential artists in the 90s, Jaliba Kuyateh. Jaliba Kuyateh is a Gambian musician and well known internationally as the King of Kora. His music mixes traditional Kora beats and modern pop music and is often referred to as Kora pop. Kuyateh is a former school teacher and resides in Brikama and performs extensively abroad. The name Jaliba in the Mandinka language means a great singer. His father Keba Kuyateh is also a renowned Kora player who gave him the name anticipating his great future. Jaliba was born in Nyamina Dankunku. Jaliba's parents are also musicians, and Jaliba was born approximately 67 years ago. He was officially born on April 13, 1957. His grandfather, Wadifin Jali, was also a famous Kora player at this time. Despite coming from a long line of musicians, getting a formal education took center stage in young Jaliba's life. At Nyamina Dankunku Primary School and later transferred to Pakalinding Primary School. He finished his secondary education at Crab Island Secondary School, then went to attend the Gambia College from 1977 to 1980. Growing up, Jaliba was made to practice playing Kora as a form of punishment if he misbehaved. By working hard on the 21-stringed combination instrument, he developed the love and mastery for the instrument that shined through his music. Paired with a with his silky smooth voice, Jaliba took Gambian music to new heights. Now let's touch bases and dive into some of the most influential artists of our generation. ST, the Gambian Dream.
From Gambia to Senegal,
Also known as Brikama Boyo, was born Sana Singate. ST is the initials of his late grandfather, whom he was named after. He was introduced to rap music as a child, listening to Biggie and Tupac, and also American artists like Nas. He recorded his first lyrics during his junior years in secondary school. He developed his writing skills by writing songs for his friends instead of him rapping it. In January 2010, ST dropped his first local mixtape, Ga on Fire, alongside P. Mark and Benjamin. He came right back around with two hot singles, Daradu Doi and Adia Tantele, gave him greater attention from the public as an Afro-Manding rap star. With a few videos followed, he had a breakthrough when the video for his song Nien Junku was released. He received an award for the video by an online Gambian music page, GMP Music Awards, as the most popular music video on their page. In March 2013 saw ST's debut album, Distinction, featuring renowned Gambian artists such as Benjamin, Nene Suso, Mandi Mori, and Somebody Unstoppable. A performance at the annual open mic, ST was well received by the fans after dropping his hot single, Alindomo, and been pronounced the hottest artist in the Gambia. Since 2013, there have been no artists in the Gambia that have surpassed the success of ST, and people say he is still the GOAT of Gambia. With a few people challenging that position comes Jaliba.
Yeah, yeah, I am the next victim. Yeah, yeah, I am the next victim, yeah.
Born 14th August 1994, comes in a very another influential artist in the Gambia, Jizzle. Jizzle is an Gambian Afro-pop artist who won the Artist of the Year at the Watsahalat Music Awards in 2016. He was also nominated for All African Music Award Best Artist in 2016. In 2014, he won the Best Upcoming Artist of the Year 2014 category at the Gambia Entertainment Awards. He is a very popular artist in the country, and he is also known for blending local languages. Originally aspired to compete in soccer, Jizzle started making music in 2009 after watching his brother Issa, also known as Breaker. He described being influenced by Lil Wayne, Drake, Wizkid, Mr. Easy, Davido, T Smalls, and Mighty Joe. Jizzle is also the ambassador for 1xBet. When it comes to the most influential artists in Gambia, we cannot name rappers without naming Jibu Balagay, better known as G.
Hey, yow xoolal fii, hey bul faale ñii, bul def lu gaar yi def since yow danga muñ ba fii. Hey faatal ñii, bul sàttantu ñii, they could call us boring or whatever, it don't bother me.
He was born the 3rd of July 1987 at Westville and grew up in Pipeline. G attended Marina International School from his nursery to high school, but later went to Kate's International Academy. G also attended college in the United Kingdom. Regarded as a prolific lyricist and music arranger, his discography includes 3 hip-hop studio albums and a mixtape. Behind the Scenes was a collaborated album with a Swedish-based rapper Noob. Freedom of Speech was his sophomore album and showed more diversity than the previous. And he also has a collaboration with the Nigerian singer Wizkid. G is widely described as a controversial singer for his beef with his fellow artist T Smalls. G was also featured on the Grounded DVD Volume 1, which was the first local-made hip-hop DVD magazine. He also noteworthy audio combinations such as Don't Get It Twisted, Unplugged, and etc. He was made the top of the list performer at the Gambian annual Open Mic Festival for the past 6 years. In 2012, he released another album titled That Feeling. His 2014 album was Situations. Recently, he had collaborated with Senegalese musicians such as Viviane, Sambandour, Fata, and also the Nigerian megastar Wizkid. Gambian music have evolved a lot from the 70s to the current state of his music. The citizens are more involved in the music and are supporting their local artists way often. There are a lot more other artists that should be on this list, but I feel like these people are the main core artists that help putting Gambian music on the map and helping other artists. Till next time, thank you for watching Elephant Madness TV.